Hi, welcome. It's time for the Unitarian Universalist of Zurich online service for today. I am your host, Susan Maud, and I welcome you. The Unitarian Universalist is a religious organization that is open to all faiths, all beliefs, to come and join in and celebrate life's moments together. You don't have to follow any certain dogma. We do have principles that we follow, and the first one is that everybody is important, each one of us. So that is where it really begins. If you want to find out more, there is a book called Singing the Living Tradition, which are poems and songs and different religious texts from different religions inside that will, enlighten you on how different groups out there think and feel about life and the world and people and all sorts of things. So have a look. Or there's also there's also the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is online, where you can find out more too about the religion. And then the one that I belong to is the European Unitarian Universalist. They're also online, where you can find out some information. So you can go there and discover some things. So I welcome you. Now today I'm on the road, so I don't have a candle or chalice or anything like that, but I have the sunlight. And so I'm going to open this curtain and we're going to let the sun in. So it's nice and bright and cheerful. I'm down in Florida and it's very warm here, so which is completely different than how I left West Virginia before I got down here. West Virginia had about a half a foot of snow and it was freezing cold temperatures. So anyways, down here you can go swimming. And it's a hot even. So it's amazing the difference a state makes. And a day's drive. A day and a half maybe. I don't know how far it is really from here to where I was. But yeah. So with this beam of light coming in, let's try to relax. So I'm going to try to relax. Put your shoulders down, sit up a little straighter, and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And let's have a moment of silence and continue breathing too. Okay, so welcome back, and I'm going to say this beam of light is for courage. Courage to not pretend anymore that everything is okay. I have pretended for a long time, lots of things in my life, and I'm not pretending anymore. It's not okay. So this is a light of courage. And I guess This is also a light of sorrow for loss of lives over the past week and loss of friendships. So let's have a moment of silence for these things. Okay. Then I want to acknowledge that, we sometimes really need to slow down and focus on ourselves. And I don't know if we're all doing that enough. So if you have time to watch this, then continue. But if you want to go do something else, that's also okay. Do something for you, something to further your life. That's important. Then I want to also offer this light for you. This is your light for any sorrow or joy you are thinking about right now. That's for you. Then, this is the part where I want to talk about forgive yourself. And I say that because so often when people do wrong to us, we're told, we have to forgive them. And I say that's wrong. We don't have to forgive them for the bad that they do to us. No. We have to forgive ourselves for being naive, for not knowing the bad that they could do. That's what we have to do. Forgive ourselves for being innocent, for not knowing what was in the mind of others, what the plan was. And others could be one person or it could be multiple people. You don't have to forgive them. You can if you really want, but you don't have to. But forgive yourself for trusting that people had good intentions when they didn't. So let's all stop and forgive ourselves right now for something, anything. Then I want to talk about what I think is the meaning and purpose of life. And Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote it really well. He wrote, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people, and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, and I'm going to add family. To appreciate beauty, true beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Or, this is the meaning of life. To find the best in others and to leave the world better. So, leaving the world better. That is what I'm doing. I've been doing it for a long time. Step by step, inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, and it's happening. But there is so much to change, and that is where a lot of the issues lie. So I just want to start by saying I just finished a 40-part series for young people about the U.S. Constitution. And that includes, the Constitution plus the Bill of Rights and all the amendments. And the Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments, actually, to the Constitution. So it's all really one thing, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, the U.S. Constitution and our rights, and I did it for many reasons, but one is that children don't know their rights. Children don't know their rights. And so I went through it a little bit so that kids could have an understanding of what their rights are. And I wanted to make sure that they knew them. So I guess the other thing, if there are any kids watching, and if you have any questions about your own family and issues in your household, know that you need to go to a trusted adult and tell them whatever problems you might be having, and hopefully they can help you. It's recently come to my attention that even if, as a parent, you leave the door open for your child to tell you things, they don't. So, this is also an issue. But anyone out there who needs help, who is in an environment that is unhealthy for themselves, you need to get out, and there are ways to get out. So seek help somewhere. If you don't know where to go, look for like a Alateen organization or an Al-Anon organization, or if you are part of the problem, if you're an alcoholic, go to Alcoholics Anonymous and get some help there. Or Unitarian Universalists, or I don't know, every country does it differently, and because this is online, I don't know who's watching, but there's help for people out there who are struggling with abuse in whatever form it comes. So there are ways to get away. And this is what I was trying to sort of also introduce with the reading of the Constitution for kids, was letting them know what their country is about, so the U.S., and what their rights are about. And I hope that helps some people, and maybe this will also help others. So with that, I tried to explain it for the young kids as best I could, and for people who maybe have English as a second language. so that they could better understand what is in the Constitution. So, I guess a lot of what I'm doing right now is in regards to grown-ups that I had around me when I was growing up who really didn't know what they were doing. And one of the things that was really like entrapping for women at the time when I was a kid was being a wife and a mother, because you didn't have any income of your own, and so you were at the mercy of your husbands and the fathers perhaps of your children. And although things changed as I was growing up and divorce became more regular and women were working and doing other things, it was still not exactly acceptable to get divorced, of course, also depending on your religious belief. So there's government laws and religious belief laws, sort of things. Religious police. And so let me begin here. As I was growing up, I realized the grown-ups around me didn't know what they were doing. And I had to take on the role of mother in our household because no one else was doing it. I mean, people thought they were doing the job, but they weren't. And this is also why in my political platform, I want to start paying mothers so that they're not trapped, so that they get an education on how to raise kids. And so that the abuse stops, basically. So I am I'm an abuse ender, is the best way to put it. I do not tolerate abuse, and I do not, I try not to abuse people. I don't think I'm abusing anybody. But let me go on reading, and I'll explain as I go. But being a mother is a job. And in the olden days, the man used to have a salary that could cover a family's living. Nowadays, we don't have that, but we've forgotten to pay mothers for their important work. So that's the first thing that has to change. But, there are so many women who have no idea how to raise a child in the first place. So, and it's so important, it needs training. And even being pregnant and birthing needs training. It's, you don't send a professional footballer out on the football field without training and practice, right? So why would we send a woman to get pregnant and to be pregnant and to give birth and then to be a mother without any training? It's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. So it is a profession, and it is the most important profession out there, because if we don't have professional mothers, then we don't have good quality humans, and then we are leading ourselves to extinction, basically. And this is not what we want. At least it's not what I want. So I am working on getting mothers paid and trained so they know what they're doing and they feel validated for the important work that they do. I mean, it's surprising that nobody has come up with this concept before. So, anyways, I grew up in a household where every night, when we sat down to a delicious meal made by my mother, sort of the family cook, I had to witness constant abuse and hostility every night. We had to watch the news while we ate. No one could talk, except, of course, my father, who was usually at this point very drunk and angry. This happened 365 days a year. This is what I was to expect was normal behavior. One thought at that time that used to drive me crazy was this regular dinner experience was supposed to be normal, which I didn't find it was normal. However, swearing, so using a 4-letter word, was forbidden. That was forbidden. And then, of course, before we had this wonderful meal together, watching the news and getting angry and having shouting matches and all sorts of hates thrown about the table, we had to pray to Jesus and God before each meal. Somehow, that was supposed to make everything okay. Recently, I realized my mother really should have done something and chose not to do anything. And because she was not doing anything, I had to do something. Her thoughts, I have no idea what they were. I mean, every night I had to go through this 365 days a year for 18 years. I had to live with that. One thing I do know, for her, she was Christian. So she was a sinner. And because she was a sinner, I was a sinner. And the whole family was a sinner. And probably our dog was a sinner too. And so, I guess we deserve to be treated basically like shit, I guess, in her mind. At some point, I realized this is not normal. And I started to do something about it. Around the age of 14, I had to become the mother. And I told my family we needed to go to therapy. And I told my family that my father needed to stop drinking. And we did. We went to therapy. I don't know if my father stopped drinking. He eventually continued drinking. And the family therapy really didn't work. So then, after that failure, I realized I'm the youngest, and the word out on the street was that, divorce is not good for the children and whatnot. But me being the last one, knowing that, divorce was possible, I suggested to my mother she get a divorce. And she didn't want to, for whatever reason. I probably asked that somewhere around the age of 14, 15. I didn't know how we would do it, but I knew it would be possible and we could survive it, since I was the last child. And she refused. So then I had to make new decisions because I wasn't satisfied being abused and being considered a sinner and all these sort of things. So at that point, I realized nobody was going to save me, certainly not my own mother or my own father, who are supposed to be my guardians. And of course, somehow, whatever, my older sister and brother were not also putting their foot down. They were accepting this behavior. So I had to find a way to get out myself. And there were two things that helped me. I found a self-help group. In fact, I started one. There was an Al-Anon group already in existence around. And then I wanted to get some teens together, which I think that's probably what happened. I got the teen group together. I don't think it was a regular meeting. I'm trying to remember how it all worked. But I think some of the teens came out of the Al-Anon group into the Alateen group for a little while so we could discuss teen issues. And that really helped. So Al-Anon and Alateen are for people who have alcoholics in their life and they want to know how to deal with them, or just talk about issues that come up when you have an alcoholic in your family or friendships or something in your life. So that really helped me. I got a lot of good ideas and strength from that. And then there was this thing called university, or in the US we also call it college. So I, at the age of 18, left home and went off to college, to New York City, where I could finally get away from the abuse. And even before that, I vowed that I would leave at 18 and never return to live with my parents, and I never did return to live with my parents. I left at 18 and I went off to live without abuse. And it was wonderful. So, so many people older than me grew up living in this environment and thinking it was normal. And that's probably the most frustrating part of all. Allowing abuse to continue. And that's why, when I left, I knew I didn't want to live that way. And I knew there was something wrong. A lot of the abuse I experienced as a child was from a warped religious concept of Christianity that I and my brother and sister were forced into by our parents. So today, the official age of becoming an adult in the USA is 18. That's the first time when anyone should pick a religion, if they pick one at all. You don't need a religion. Before that, it's just brainwashing. If you care about your own children, it's okay, I think, to teach them about the history of religion and religious practices, and to make some sensible mixed holidays so they learn about history and traditions. But no child should pick a religion until they're 18. And there are lots of people out there who seem to think that they need a God to transcend or to change their lives, where changing one addiction with another is just exactly that. You're not getting over your addiction, you're just changing it. And yeah, maybe that works, but it's really even better to just change altogether and don't be addicted to a God or a Jesus or a Muhammad or even a Buddha. You need yourself. You don't need an imaginary friend. You don't need a crutch to get through the day. You don't need a new addiction. You need yourself. You need inspiration. You need nurturing. That's what you need. So I'm going to recommend that if you are somebody who's trying to change and go in a good way, you need to find inspiration. And so there's a lot of inspiration on the internet, on all the different social media platforms out there. So instead of going and getting quotes from, I don't know, victimhood or abuse of this or that, why don't you look for quotes about changing your life? I mean, I recommend the Louise Hay book, You Can Change Your Life. That's a good one to start with. Or Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. These two life changers, coaches, have great and powerful messages for all of us. And so I really recommend looking at those two books. And but maybe look at, I'm sure they have like a Facebook page or a Instagram page or a YouTube page where you can get direct links to their thoughts and their ideas about change, and others too. So look for some good organizations online to sort of hook up to on Facebook or whatever your platform is of choice, and then you'll get daily doses of good ideas to inspire and nurture you to change. without the necessary crutch of another imaginary friend or yeah, you just, so much evil has been done by the various religions throughout history that I just don't think that religion is the best way. There are life coaches that can lead you better. And then when you are better, then if you feel the need to have a religious leader idol, I mean, the idea is to get away from idol worshiping. But if you need that somehow, then of course do that. But I would prefer if people would start changing for themselves, by themselves, with some guidance from real people. Then I think we'd have a better world. Because when you take on a religion, then it's us against them. And the hate begins. And that's not the change we want. We want peace and nurturing and happiness and friendship, not us against them. And then lastly, always go to the good and leave the world better. So these are my little phrases that I like to use. Okay, that was a heavy one, at least it was for me. Yeah, I don't wish my childhood on anybody. It was not the best. But we do survive. And I suppose there are lots of people out there who had a worse childhood than I did. I don't know. Maybe someone wants to also give a service and give their advice. That would also be good. Please feel free to contact me. So now it's time to close, and I'm going to let's do the I am only one. I never know what to call this. It's not really a quote. A quote is a short thing, and this is longer. So it's a poem, I guess, or we're going to use it like an affirmation. So I'm going to read one line, and you're going to repeat it. And then I'll read the next, and you repeat it, so that we both are doing something. And it's from the Unitarian Universalist minister Edward Everett Hale, from the Singing the Living Tradition book, which I highly recommend for everybody for inspiration. There's lots of good thoughts in there. So, it begins like this. Repeat after me. I am only one. But still, I am one. I cannot do everything. But still, I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Okay, so it's time to do something. This is our candle or chalice for today. There are lots of clouds and sunshine outside. It's a partly sunny day, I guess. but it was nice to have the sunshine for us today. I'm going to close the curtain to officially end the service and bring us back to the beginning. And may the light of the sun reach us all over today and this week and give us warmth and safety and security, and be our guiding light for this week. Okay, so that's it. I wish us all peace. Thanks for stopping by.